This weekend, it's going down.
This about to go down.
You guys ready?
It's going down. Meet me in the mall. It's going down. Meet me in the club. It's going down. Anywhere you meet me, guaranteed to go down.
New Zealand versus South Africa. In France, Paris, 14 hours ahead of Fiji, 15 hours ahead of Vanuatu, 16 hours ahead of Australia. Now, since we're gonna follow the Australian Eastern Standard Time, I'm assuming most of you will be streaming from that. Then just count the hours, which is 16, and that should be around 6 o'clock. But if you're streaming from another server, which is 15 hours ahead, I think the normal time for that is 5 p.m. For Vanuatu, 14 hours ahead. It doesn't matter because we don't have our service providers who are providing it for us. The same might be for Fiji as well. I don't know if Fiji Broadcasting or Fiji One has got the rights to broadcast the Rugby World Cup, but whoever has it, it should be on a Sunday around 5 o'clock. So check your phones, check your time, make sure you have your standard times correct and you're not following the wrong time schedule. Now, with all these different time zones, we here in the Pacific, we follow the Coordinated Universal Time. It's a step up from the GMT, and we are not going to get into time zones because that is super annoying. We'll stay on rugby. New Zealand versus South Africa. A lot of bets are currently going down. Here in Australia, a lot of people are making bets who's going to win by how many points, and there's a lot of different types of bets that comes out whenever these big events happen. And this is it's actually become a concern that whenever people think of sports now, it's usually coupled with betting. Before, you'd go watch the sport, of course there'd be bets on the side, but now it's just gotten out of control. You can place your bets online, you can download apps. Betting is everywhere on the new media environment. In each platform, it's all about placing your bets for the next big game. Even when Australia had its referendum, you could bet on who would win, the yes or the no. And if you haven't been following the news, the no's won. So coming back to rugby, it's happening this weekend. This is the weekend we've all been waiting for. This is the culmination of weeks of rugby, from friendly matches to pool games. From most of our teams, well, probably 90% of our teams have lost. Australia, I will never bring that name up again. I'm an Australian fan, but since Eddie Jones came in, I think I need to migrate and move to Japan. The Japanese, they've got it going on, and as long as Eddie Jones is at the driver's seat of the Australian team, this is what they're gonna look like. While many of the other teams lost, but it wasn't as embarrassing as Australia. Australia is one of the big ones, one of the big dogs in this fight, but somehow the boys in green and gold made an early exit in the pool games, and that is really embarrassing. There's a lot of controversy that's happening here in Australia, a lot of people calling for Eddie Jones to be taken to task, some people calling for an investigation into certain allegations and claims. There are a few conspiracies that Eddie Jones may have been chit-chatting with the Japanese team before Australia had some of their games. Sonny Bill Williams called that out. Anyways, we're not going to talk about the green and gold boys who actually caught the first plane out. We're going to talk about New Zealand and South Africa. You don't want to miss it. Whoever your team is, I hope you have a strong mix on standby, because it's gonna be a bloody good game. So that's Sunday Pacific time. Streaming might be around 5 o'clock, double check that. It's not just rugby that's going down. We spoke last time about Winston Hill being the gatekeeper of Fijian boxing. Well, right now, Tyson Fury will be playing gatekeeper to the World Heavyweight Championship, and he'll be challenging, actually, not him doing the challenging, but Ngannou is stepping out of UFC from the octagon and into the boxing ring, and they'll be fighting this weekend as well. So it's going to be amazing. It's a weekend of sports. It's going to be unreal. They'll be fighting in Saudi Arabia. Once again, Saudi Arabia, time difference is crazy. The Australian Eastern Standard Time, For Saudi Arabia, difference is 14 hours. Most of us will be streaming online. Get that time zone locked down so you don't miss the fight. I know a lot of people who are looking forward to both boxing and rugby, so it's going to be an awesome Sunday for a lot of us. Have your kava on standby, Vanuatu, your kale, Fiji, Sava, and let's just have a good time this weekend. Now, speaking of betting,
I forgot to tell you, I have a gambling problem.
I mentioned earlier that it's become an issue and a lot of people have highlighted it. Shaquille O'Neal has gotten himself in the hot seat here in Australia because if you watch a lot of Australian television, when Sportsbet comes out, Shaquille O'Neal is kind of the poster boy for these ads. And he apparently is offending Australians by stereotyping them and generalizing each Australian or every Australian as a yobo. Now, I had no idea what a yobo was. I checked through the comments, I read the story. One of the complaints was, I'm not a yobo, I'm an Australian, and he's trying to generalize it. So I had to Google what yobo was, and it's more of a very cruel, ruggish person. For Fiji, you probably know them as Ngwanisisi. For Vanuatu, you probably know them as Oljos. And this is the stereotype that people are assuming Shaquille O'Neal is pushing towards all Australians. Now, I've seen the ads with Shaq having a chat with a few Australians, and when they're responding to Shaquille, they're speaking like Aussie Man in Aussie Man reviews, where he says, yeah, nah, yeah, nah. So that's basically, I'm assuming, what yobo is, and him generalizing them in that particular perspective. And I'm sure that that's not his intention. I don't know why Shaq is getting the blame for this. When you're in those type of ads, you're just a person standing there, acting, you get your money and you leave. It's the producers, the directors, the people who coordinate everything and put it together, the script writers. These are the people that they should be questioning, not an American who came over just to do a few ads and who doesn't even stay in Australia. But anyways, if you're gonna place a bet, do it the Pacific way, all right? Money down on the table where people can see. Online betting is never usually our forte, but it's becoming a big thing right now here in Australia, and it's moving towards the Pacific as well. Some online betting companies have set up shop in Vanuatu. I don't know if it's the same in Fiji, but be careful how you spend your money. I've seen people throw away hundreds and thousands of dollars in one night, and for them, it doesn't really matter because they apparently have a tree that grows money. But for us folk who sometimes in the week have to survive on noodles and tuna, yeah, be careful how you make your bets, be careful how you spend your money. Most importantly, just enjoy the weekend.